I know you're interviewing me, but I'm just curious why you're interested in this topic.
Well, I'll explain the project to you. The project is, it's outlined on the sheet, but I'll explain it anyway. It's that she wants to end the year. We are doing a section on social activism and volunteerism. I think her idea was to somehow end the year on a lighter note, but it's not really ending up that way. So she wants us to do a project where we research some kind of social activism, volunteerism issues. You can do it by yourself or groups of two. So Peggy and I there was a whole list of stuff the class came up with, and we were looking through stuff, and we decided on human trafficking, and then we narrowed it down to sex trafficking. I can't speak for them.
Yeah. But is there like a specific reason sex trafficking and not the environment? Or?
We wanted to do, Peggy wanted to do something that we hadn't come up with as a class. So we researched human rights issues, and I found something about internally displaced persons, which I thought was interesting, but Peggy thought it'd be hard to find someone working on that, and from that we got human trafficking.
I think we just picked human trafficking. There was a list and we said, this is interesting.
I feel like a lot of people have heard of it, but they don't really actually know a lot about it.
And what have you been looking at to get research on it? Or is it just or are you just trying to interview somebody?
No, we have to write an issue brief.
Okay.
Interview someone, and then 5 ways you can help them.
Okay. So what are you looking at? What resources?
I think there's 2 websites. humantrafficking.org and
a lot of organizations
and a lot of government offices like the U.S. Department of Health trying to help the human trafficking victims, and they have, I think they give out certificates to those that are determined to be victims, and so if they're foreigners they can get aid and funds from the government. Is that true?
I don't know. I don't know. I wonder if it depends on the country. But it might not.
In the U.S.
I didn't mean to but I heard you say something about prisons. Do you go into the prisons and teach or something?
No.
Sorry. I just
What did she ask?
Do you go into prisons?
Wonder where that would have gone.
Very well could be.
Does GLI help identify victims too?
GLI doesn't, and I tried to say this in my email. GLI works predominantly with
education.
Education girls like you. We don't identify victims. We don't work directly with victims. We don't provide support for victims. We're not a trafficking organization. We're an education organization. So the way that we work on this issue is by educating people about the issue. But for people who are on the ground doing social work type of work, providing services, or going to police, working in conjunction with the police to try to identify victims, that's not at all what we do. That would be, GEMS is an organization that they don't identify, well they do identify victims. So GEMS is an organization that does that, and they're in the Bronx. There's something to look at. And I think Lily is going to try to interview somebody from GEMS, so she might be a resource for you.
I think it's hard to identify victims because it's the first step to do, but you don't know where to go. How can you identify human trafficking victims?
We found a site that gave a list, a checklist of how to identify a victim too.
I think those are the fortunate people that are identified as victims. A lot more are just their life is over.
Yeah, it depends. Some people,
are there really organizations that they're trying to look for them?
Yeah, I think the Polaris Project works with them. You guys should look at them if you haven't already seen them, because they work in Newark and Washington, and I think also New York, and they do a lot of working working with victims, but I mean, and so does GEMS. And what GEMS does is they'll go on they'll go on the streets that they know, like a lot of girls are working as prostitutes, and they'll do outreach and say like, listen, you know, we know you're on the street. I've been in the game. I know this as well. Here are resources for you. And so people do like on the ground outreach. It's just that we think of the like. You can often put people in greater danger by going to some of these places, and so it's really like for us as an organization, like we're totally not like don't have the skills or the background to do that. And so what you need to do is like if you suspect that there may be somebody who's been trafficked, and it doesn't have to be sex trafficking. I mean, there have been cases, especially in the DC area, where you have like people who have diplomatic immunity because, you know, they're here from another country and working and whatever, and they may be working for their government, but they're here, and they will employ like a domestic servant that they actually use as like domestic slavery. And there have been cases in DC in particular where neighbors have called the police and said, you know, we suspect that this person has been trafficked here and is being held in captivity because we never see them out. We know that they're there, but, you know, it's like these very, and so I think that there are people who keep their eyes open and say, like, this is just very strange. And I think that the same is true if you know, if you're going to strip clubs and you're going to places where you have a large population of women who appear to be mostly of the same ethnic background or national background, and you know, it can raise red flags. Doesn't mean they're all trafficked, and there are women who work in strip clubs who absolutely are not trafficked. But I think that is there like a specific checklist? No. But I think that there are things that legitimately throw up red flags. And some of that has to do with, you know, like if you're in Queens and you know that there's a demographic of women being trafficked into Queens, which there is, and you go to certain places and you see a group of those women, you know, you have to say to yourself, like, I know that there's a population of women being trafficked into this area. I see a population of these women working in an area, you know, I don't mean working in like a, you know, a deli. I mean like working in a strip club or working in one of these areas where you're like, this is already shady business. And, you know, there are some things that are matching up. Maybe this requires further investigation. And so I think for groups that do that kind of work, I don't know, they may be reaching out to some of those populations, or they may be notifying the authorities, you know.
Yeah, I think most organizations, they do education. They try to reach out to the community and then tell girls to, like, the factors of human trafficking, what to avoid, and what they usually do to trigger you to somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of preventative education, and then there's a lot of like post-providing services. What's hard is like getting in the habit. And that's why a lot of organizations are trying to do a lot of education with police. Because police are the people who end up really being able to identify victims of trafficking. Because they're the people in these spaces. And you know, you'll see this in the documentary if you watch it. And GEMS does a ton of education in police departments, and police officers will talk to the people who run the organization. They'll be like, oh, you know, these girls deserve this because, you know, they're just prostitutes and they have these little girls and they're sluts, and they'll go through this training with GEMS, and at the end of it they're like, oh, you know, these girls are 13 years old and like they got pulled into this, but it's like a re-education for the police department, and once police have been retrained to see it, it's a very different situation. And so, you know, in some ways it's not like, oh, well, how do we go into these areas? Like, you know, if I went into a bar in Queens, like seeking out victims, I mean, I look so suspicious there because it's like, well, what am I doing there? You know, so for police to go into these spaces, that's a much better group to educate about this.